What is up, my fellow gamers, geeks, and nerds? It's Senny here with SennyGamingHQ. Welcome back to my channel for another video. And today is a special day because Hazzikostas has just announced the patch 8.1, and it seems like we're getting quite a doozy here. Quite a doozy of an update. So without any further ado, let's get in and look at it together. So the title of this patch is called the Tides of Vengeance. So far in BFA, we've been going to either Zandalar or Cold Cirrus and been working with the inhabitants there to try and recruit them into our armies, right? Well, now 8.1, that's all changing. In 8.1, the war is finally picking up, okay? So the Horde and the Alliance are going to start going at it again. It's going to be a new raid. There's going to be more story to the war campaign, so they're going to add more story to that. I know that so far it looked a little lackluster, but it appears here that they're not done with it, which is really neat. I'm glad that they're carrying it on because I want to see more storyline to it, right? They're releasing these things called Incursions, which are like the Legion assaults, where, you know, little spots throughout the map. They'd have this world quest where the Legion was invading, and then eventually you'd have a little event afterwards. It's going to be the same thing, except this time, depending on the faction you play, it's going to be Horde or Alliance invasion kind of thing on your continent. So and it seems like they're going to have another experience catch up for alts, which is really, I really appreciate that as someone who has like multiple alts. I have tons of alts, and so I'm really glad that they're bringing that in. And then this is also going to be creating new world quests. So, I mean, everyone likes variety, right? I mean, world quests themselves in general aren't that exciting. Personally, for me, I don't like world questing as much unless I have war mode on. If I have war mode on, it gives it that little more excitement. They're going to have more storyline progression for Bugden. So, that I'm super excited for. They are going to have more story progression for Sourfang and for Tyrande, which I know a lot of fans on the Alliance side specifically feel like the Night Elves are just a punching bag. So I'm really glad to see that Tyrande is getting some story development here. And note how it says Tyrande, not Malfurion. So I think Malfurion is sitting it out, but Tyrande, I would really like to see Tyrande go Warcraft 3 mode. You know, like Savage Night Elf mode. That would be really neat to see. And it's another feature that they brought up, and one that I am so stoked for, is heritage armor for the pre-existing races. And this is so exciting for someone who really likes their race identity. Like me specifically, I think really long and hard about what kind of race I want to go with my class that I'm playing and whatnot. So to be able to have that option is just nice. It's a nice treat for me. So it looks like they're going to start with the dwarves and the blood elves. I've seen a lot of people complain on the forums and saying like why dwarves and all that, but I think what a lot of people miss is that it's starting with dwarves and blood elves, and they have plans for the rest of them in the future, which I'm super excited for, especially for my undead Death Knight. I want that Death Guard set so badly. It says that it's unlocked via a racial quest. And when you hit max level on any of the race you have, you will get this quest, and you have to be exalted with your race's faction. So if you're an orc, you have to be exalted with Orgrimmar. And honestly, if you leveled the tune or whatnot, it's really not that hard. There's also going to be a new warfront on Darkshore. Personally, for me, I enjoyed the warfronts. I think they should add more difficulty options to it, because let's face it, it was just a face roll. But if they added more difficulty options to it, I would actually enjoy it like even more. And especially if they had a PvP option, oh, that'd be great. Like if it was just a rated version, so you know that people are going to take it a little more seriously and like objective oriented, that'd be great. But that remains yet to be seen. Looks like the new warfront on Darkshore is going to be Night Elf and Forsaken themed. And personally for me, those are probably my two favorite races on either side. For Forsaken on the Horde side, and Night Elves on the Alliance side. So this is just a nice treat for me personally. During the development interview there, they show a screenshot of an undead wearing some kind of armor, And I think that that's going to be a new Warfront set, which is amazing because people have been saying they want like a nice Night Elf heritage looking set. So not only are Night Elf players going to get their heritage armor, but it looks like they're also going to get they're likely going to get a Warfront set themed for Night Elves as well. And I'm super stoked to farm for those because I love transmog and I love the class and race identity, so it's just gonna be, I'm so excited for that. And the Undead set just looks phenomenal. It just looks phenomenal. I can't wait. So they're gonna have new structures and upgrades for it, different from the Arathi ones supposedly. And Darkshore will have a new max level character content with zone updates. So if you're a new max level character and you go to Darkshore, you're going to see the new update at, like, post Warfront. They're going to add 2 new island expeditions, one that's Vrykul themed and one that's Gilnean themed. Personally for me, expeditions were a drag. I did a few. I was like kind of excited about the prospect of doing these and, you know, like having a smart AI attacking me or doing the PvP version, like, but as it turned out, it was just a race to see who could get the Azerite the fastest. And that was kind of a mood kill. Not only that, but then the rewards were just absolute bogus. Just absolute bogus. Like, I don't know, I've done them multiple weeks on my Horde, on my Death Knight, to get Exalted with Maghar. And then I've been doing it for a number of weeks on my Alliance Demon Hunter. And not a single reward other than those coins. Not a single one. And it is frustrating. In the meantime, the only thing I'm doing it for at this point is the rep. But they've said that they have plans to add the frequency of the drops of the items, which I hope happens sooner rather than later, because as it is, it's dying. That content there that they created is dying. On the island expeditions, they're going to have new kind of events that can occur. So one where you could kind of like domination, where you have to hold the point, but it looks like, you know, if you're holding the point, you're slowly getting the Azerite trickling, but then the other enemy faction is going to come and attack you. So that's kind of neat. That forces you to engage with the other faction rather than just race around them, which is really exciting. I like that idea. The island expeditions are going to have major spawning improvements and won't be uniformly blanketed by spawns. So like, it's not just going to be like a ton of spawns everywhere where you can hardly navigate around them. It looks like it's going to be more like hubs here and there kind of thing, which is nice, because, you know, sometimes you want to get from point A to point B, and oh, oops, I pulled 5 bops. So that's nice to see. And with this new announcement is a new raid. And this one, I'm not one for raiding. I've never enjoyed raiding. I find it's just not for me. But this, I might have to give it a try. This raid is called Siege of Zul Desire, and it is a Horde versus Alliance themed raid, where depending on what faction you play, you are fighting the opposite faction. So the enemy is the opposite faction with separate faction experiences, so they each have their own point of view. Alliance start at the docks at the bottom of the pyramid, and they have to progress and climb their way up, eventually getting to King Rastakhan. The Horde will defend the city, starting outside at the far north of the pyramid, and they fight towards Rastakhan to protect him, and that's going to be the middle of the raid where they get to him. After the fight with Rastakhan happens, the Horde fights its way down the docks, down towards the docks against the Alliance forces, and it ends the encounter against Jaina Proudmoore. This is exciting because I'm going to get into a whole topic in another video about what I think the Alliance storyline needs, so stay tuned for that. This looks like it could be going in that direction, which I am very, very hopeful for. So we'll see, and I'll release that video shortly for you guys to see. This has 2 6 boss experiences separate from each other. So Horde are going to have 6 bosses, and Alliance are going to have 6 bosses. After completing the faction-specific experience, you'll be able to experience the other 3 faction bosses that you didn't get to experience firsthand. So after you finish the raid for yourself, you can go back and say, hey, I want to see what happened on the opposite faction. Like if I was the Horde and I fought against the Alliance, I want to see what the Alliance perspective. You're going to get to do that, which is really neat. I am glad that they give you that option in case you don't have character on the opposite faction. So with that said, there's a total of 9 new boss encounters, 6 of which are unique to each faction. We're going to see a new interior of the pyramid that we've never seen before, so we're going to get to actually go inside the pyramid somewhere else that we haven't been before and see what's going on there. And then they're going to have another Trial of Valor type raid called the Crucible of Storms, and this is in Stormsong Valley. And this raid has 2 bosses and is located under Stormsong Valley, like I said, and it'll be released after the Zul Desire raid. And there will be supporting world content, so I'm assuming like a little story, quest line story mode to go along with it, along with some new world quests, whatnot, probably stuff like that. And it hints at the influence of Queen Azshara, obviously. But I'm glad to see that Queen Azshara isn't the Gul'dan of this expansion, because in the second raid, Gul'dan was the Gul'dan and Legion. So this second raid, it doesn't look like it's going to be Queen Azshara. And then they have a bunch of system improvements that they were talking about, like they're going to do some more class updates. I know a lot of people, like especially Shaman, I know is in a very rough spot. Feral Druid, rough spot. DK, Frost DK, it just feels clunky as hell. And it feels very slow playing Frost DK in my opinion. There's going to be new profession recipes. They're going to have a new pet battle dungeon in Nomergon and more stuff like that. So the team has learned from their Azerite traits, and the current ones that are there, the current Azerite traits that are there, are a floor in terms of complexity. It says so. It's kind of like just a baseline of what you see now, and from here it looks like they're going to be adding more in the future to add more complexity, add more variety, which I know a lot of people like. You know, a lot more thought put into what they're gonna do, which is nice, and I agree. I do like to have more thought put into it, and it looks like they're going to have replacements for traits that are not interesting or effective. So the traits that are not being picked, it looks like they're just gonna maybe replace it with something new. So that's nice. Hopefully it gives you more of a moment of what you want to pick. And it says that map improvements are coming and reputation improvements. So reputation, the champions, like for example, the Champions of Azeroth reputation will be effectively account wide. So if you are revered on one character, you know, you get to upgrade your necklace 5 item levels each reputation level you gain. All your other tunes are going to get that same thing automatically, which is really nice. Instead of your that reputation restricted transmog items. So if I'm exalted with some faction and I bought their tabard, that is now going to be account wide. Finally Blizzard, thank you. I'm so excited for that. Like I said before, being someone who has multiple alts, it is just a buzzkill thinking about having to do rep grinds over and over and over. It's not fun. And also, for those of you who are looking forward to that little magnificent white unicorn mount there, well, good news for you. All account-wide reputation exalted are added together kind of thing. So if you have 25 reputations exalted on a horde tune and 35 reputations exalted on an alliance tune, you now have 60 in that progress. So that is very helpful. If you're all wondering about the Kultiran and the Zandalari allied races, well, it says here in the events following the raid, so I assume after the raid we're going to get a little quest line. If you've completed it, we should be able to recruit them into our armies finally. So if you, and he says that there's not going to be any additional rep grind added in for a new faction. He says if you are exalted with Zandalari or Proudmoore Admiralty and play through the war campaign, that's enough. Nothing else to do. So thank God. If you guys have been working at getting your exalted rep with the Zandalari and the Proudmoore Admiralty, have no fear, you won't have to do it again. And that is it, guys. That is it for my video today. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up button. If you like my channel, hit that subscribe button, and I hope to see you guys around here in the future. Ciao.